Okay, in this video, we're going to talk about how to properly set up your crate in order to crate train your dog, which will also help with your potty training. So depending on what part of the house you're going to set your crate up in, let's talk about the bedding and let's talk about the crate. The crate, I really like this metal crate. Um, there's a couple different versions out there. We have the plastic ones that are good for the airlines. Um, I don't really like them because there's not enough room inside, the ones that I've seen anyway, and it's really, really loud on the inside. And that noise when the dog barks just kind of reverbs back to inside and can just drive the dogs insane. So I really like the metal one. We'll talk about the bedding. We have Sophia inside here. I'm going to let her out. She's doing so well right now, but I'm going to let her out if she wants to come out. And so what I would do with Sophia, Sophia, come on. Yes, good girl. You can see she's got a lot of hair. So, if she's in a relatively warm part of the house, don't need a ton of bedding in there for her. Off. You don't need a lot of bedding for her. But yet, if she was a skinny little dog with very short hair, that'd be something that I'd want to be cognizant of and say, okay, I have to put more bedding in there to keep her warm. She'll curl up in a ball and keep herself warm. So that's why I like that. How do we get them in the crate? Well, what I would do, especially with the young dog, is doesn't matter, young or old, I would take their food and I would feed them in the crate. Make the crate the source of everything good. Um, Sophia's trying to steal some treats out of my friend Dan's pocket here, so we're going to stop her from doing that. And so, yeah, feed her in the crate, treat her in the crate, do whatever you need to do so that she associates the crate with something good. So I'm going to show you, and hopefully she cooperates right now. I'm going to grab a treat, and I'm going to try to lure her. Sophia, up. Yes, good girl. And we're going to lure her in there. Okay, she didn't go all the way in. So now I'm going to take the treat, and I'm going to throw it to the back of the crate. Come. You get her. Come on. Okay, whoops. Now I'm going to just help her out a little bit. There we go. And I normally would not do that. I would want her to go in on her own, but for the purpose of this video, you'd want to keep playing that game and keep tossing treats in until she goes in and on her own. So now she's in there. Now I have a dog who doesn't mind being in the crate, but let's say your dog at home doesn't want to be in the crate. What do? They're going to bark, 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 bark. As soon as they stop barking, I treat her. Bark, 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 and I treat her. Bark, 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 bark. No more barking, I treat her. So we're going to reinforce the quietness. We want to really never, this is difficult, guys. When they're barking and they want out of the crate, if we let them out because they're barking, we've just reinforced them. So they say, oh, when I don't want in here, all I have to do is continue to bark and my owner's going to let me out. That's not a good thing. That's not a good habit to start with them. So if you have a young dog that doesn't want to be in there, that is barking, I would only open up the door when they stop barking. When you have like 1 or 2 seconds of silence, open it up and let them come out. Okay. So that's number one. Number two, so that's the crate. That's how to set it up. I like putting a sheet over the top of this. Creates kind of like a cavern or cave type of situation, which dogs are familiar with. And yet we still allow them to see out into their family room or wherever it is that we put the crate so they feel like they're part of the family. How long should I crate train my dog for? Minutes at first. And you start out with 3 minutes, then you take a break. And then later on in the day, you come back, you do it again for maybe 4 or 5 minutes. And this is just a continual thing that you do in order to get compliance out of the dog. Okay, so now they're in the crate like she is right now, super happy. Let's talk about potty training, right? It's the number one reason why dogs get returned, or one of the reasons, very popular reason why dogs get either returned, which people will not admit to, because they're eliminating in your house. They're peeing and pooping on your Oriental rugs. They're marking on the walls. It just costs us money, and we love the dogs, but we can't destroy the house, right? Okay, here's the guideline: 2 months, every 2 hours the dog goes out. 3 months, every 3 hours the dog is going to have to eliminate. Every 4 hours, every 4 months, 4 hours. That's a general guide. The other time, with respect to potty training, is after every event. We've got about 7 times a day to get this right with our dogs. So what's an event? An event is after I wake up from a nap, outside we go. After I play with my owner in the house, outside we go. After I eat in my crate, outside we go. Now, here's the other thing, and many people don't realize this. After a dog eats and we take them outside to eliminate, they'll do they'll pee and they'll poo outside, and then we come back in the house. I want you to, after about 20 to 30 minutes, take them out a second time, and I promise you, more often than not, you'll have your dog eliminate outside after they eat and after they've eliminated for the first time of the day. Um, so that's really, really key. Um, the other thing you have to be cognizant of and be aware of is that the dog at night, once they get to about 5 months of age, the dogs will be able to go through the night without getting you up to take them out every few hours. But when they're younger, sorry, you wanted the puppy, there's work. It's nothing like it's kind of like having your kids. You got to get up to change a diaper when they're babies. These guys have to go out. The other thing too is many of the crates that you'll buy today have these dividers in them. And so this crate is the perfect size for Sophia. But if I have a tiny little dog, I don't want you to have to go out and spend $500 in crates because they're not cheap. So you can get a larger one and then section it off so that they have enough room to get up and turn around and move, but not enough room to go into the corner of the crate and pee and poo in it. Okay, so we don't want it too big to give them room to do their business over here, and they're just going to move away from it on the other side of the crate. So that's the other thing that we have to be aware of. I'm going to show you something else right now. In some of the other videos you've seen, the doorway method. The doorway opening is not a cue for you to go flying through it. So Sophia's never done this before. I'm going to open the door, and she's going to try to get out, and I'm going to close it very quickly in front of her. And I may have to do that 2 or 3 times before she realizes I can't go out until this guy invites me out. So watch, because this is what it looks like. Okay, good girl. So that's it. So we started the doorway method with her right there. We started training her that an open door is not the cue to go out. Okay, so now we have our dog. We have her leashed up. I'm going to get my leash right here. Come on, Sophia. Come on. Okay, so the dog has to go out. She just woke up from a nap. We're going to go outside now. We're going to go outside for a little walk, and we're going to get her to hopefully pee or poo out here. Okay, so if there's an area in your yard that you want to take the dog to eliminate, in the mulch and I don't know, some gravel that you have, whatever it is, we want to walk our dog over there. And the key to reinforcing the elimination outside and not in the house is to have a high value treat, to only reward them, to jackpot them when they pee and poo outside. Whether it's in a particular area, that's up to you. I would just, lure them over to the area that you want them to go in and just stand there until they finally go to the bathroom. It may take 5 minutes, it may take 10 minutes, whatever it is, but that's what you want to do. Some people, and they'll say, oh, I reward them. I tell them what a good boy, what a good girl they are. They get that from you all day long when they're in the house. You tell them how much you love them. You tell them what a good boy, a girl they are. So that doesn't translate to doing something super special outside like eliminating. That's why we want to jackpot them outside. What about if they're inside? If they're inside the house and they have the accident, right? They go, and we see them, they're in the midst of it. So here's what it looks like. And you're going to see Sophia, I kind of feel bad doing this to her, but you're not going to take their nose and stick it in there in the elimination, whatever they did. We don't do that. But if they're in the midst of squatting and they're peeing or pooing on the floor, it looks just like this. It's, hey! You see how I got her attention right there? So at that point, I walk over to the dog, figuring that she hasn't completed her elimination, and I'm going to take them outside, pick them up, take them outside to where they need to go, and let them finish their eliminating outside, and then you reward them. Okay? But you don't punish. The punishment is the hey, it's the shock and awe, to kind of like, oh, geez, I guess I'm not supposed to be doing this inside. And that's how you get the potty train the dog outside. You don't rub their nose in it. That's an old tale that doesn't work. The dogs don't know why you're doing it. If they've eliminated and you didn't see it, and it's 5 or 10 seconds after the elimination took place, it's too late for the shock and awe. Can't do it. Right? Doesn't mean anything to them. They have to be in the midst of doing it. So Pete, what do you do when when they pee and poo in the house and I didn't see them do it, you got to clean it up and say, you know what? It's one of those lost opportunities that you had. As I said, you only get about 7 or 8 of them. You'll get 4 or 5 pees a day, and maybe 3 poops, and that's basically it. And so you got to be on top of things after every event, play, sleep, after I eat, whatever it is. You just have to be on top of it and be consistent. And by 5 months of age, I've seen this earlier, you can have a dog fully potty trained in a few months. It's really not that difficult to do. You just have to be consistent with it. So I know this was a long video. We covered a lot of material. Sophia was a great student, but that's it on crate train setting up, using the crate to potty train, and what do I do to get my dog to go outside is that big jackpot when they go pee and poo outside. Okay, so that's the video.